Hello, hello, hello. It's a beautiful, very cold winter day in Ontario. And today I am taking you along with me for a day in the life video. So first we gotta get Starbucks, and then I gotta pick up an external hard drive for my assistant, and then we get into the fun stuff. I am actually starting to renovate my bathroom, and I will be including you guys on the entire journey of that. So I have to go pick up some tiles that I ordered, and then we're off to Baker's at Work, where I'm actually going to show you guys a cool new booth that they have. It's kind of like they call it like a phone booth, but it's more of a privacy pod. And basically what they do is you can go in there, make a phone call, you can work, all this kind of stuff. So we'll get into all that when we get there, but I'll give you the full tour and hopefully get you some cool stuff to see. So let's go. All right, in the lineup for coffee, because I don't really want to go in. I'm gonna try oat milk. Has anybody ever tried oat milk? I don't know. I want to reduce my fat intake. Oh my god, that just flew into my windshield. That was weird. So I'm trying to reduce my fat intake, so fingers crossed it doesn't taste like crap. All right, so I don't know about you guys, but I've definitely gained COVID, 19. So I've been trying to reduce fat, so I'm trying Starbucks oat milk, and we will see how this tastes. Okay. It's like nutty. I don't know if I like that. Ugh. So what I'm really liking about this phone booth is that the sound is the fan kind of dulls out some of the voices that you can hear, but overall, I gotta stand this up. But overall, the sound in here is really dampened. You can come in here and make a really nice phone call and nobody would be able to hear you. And what I like about it is they actually have a seal around the door. So unlike some of them where there's no gaskets or seals at the doors, it actually kind of closes it off. It's not 100% soundproof. None of them really are. But for what it is, it's actually really, really good. Also, I'm loving the size of this countertop. This countertop, you can actually fit a laptop, and I can fit in here comfortably. I can sit angled. You can put your legs underneath. I think just overall, it's a very comfortable seat, and that I have not seen before. So Canadian made and really well designed, and I'm loving the retro look. All right. I'm magically back home. So I didn't capture our lunch. It was kind of weird with the social distance, and there's very limited people that can eat in a restaurant, so it was just kind of awkward. But I mean, the lunch was great and the company was great, but just the seating arrangements didn't make for good filming. All right, so we definitely toured a lot at Baker's today, and what I loved was seeing the Loop booth is really exciting because there are a lot of product lines that are out there, and I love a lot of them. They all have unique features that they offer. What I loved about this one is I loved, first of all, from a stylistic point of view, I love the retro vibe. I just felt like it stood out from a lot of the ones that I've seen. It had a really interesting presence to it. And being that it's manufactured in Canada, which, I mean, is amazing, number one, because yes, it's great to have stuff in the US and all over the world, but when you are thinking of sustainable design, you also want to think of local. So thinking about products that are manufactured not that far away is a really good thing when it comes to, sustainable practices. Also, what I learned about this particular booth is they are designers first. So they really thought about all of those details. Like just the hinges alone, they were hinges that actually had a nice seal to them. So it kept that soundproof in place, but they were really heavy duty. Like this thing was built like a tank. Another feature that I haven't really seen on a lot of the booths is the lip where the door actually sits. It actually has a suction and a seal there, and because there's this nice like overlap, you really do get a lot more soundproof than I've seen in a lot of the other booths. And I mean, it's not 100% perfect. None of them could be because it's got a glass wall and glass isn't the highest on the, soundproof rating. However, it's pretty darn close. Like when you're in there, you don't really hear what's going on outside. I mean, maybe some muffling, but the people who were talking were quite close by. And in most situations, you're not going to have people like right outside the door talking, So I thought that was really interesting, is that the booth itself was one of the best I've seen so far with soundproofing. Now, from another style point of view, they really thought of ergonomics when they were thinking of this and just how your body sits. The curve in the bottom of the seat, the angle there, actually allows you to tuck your legs a little bit under you. Most of them don't have that. Also, I haven't had one that has a bench seat like that for an individual person. What I like about that is you don't compromise, even in the small singular solo booth, on space. I had room for a big bag, my jacket if I had it folded up. If I was, a little bit larger, there would be room for me to feel comfortable and not squeezed in. I didn't feel like I was perched. I felt like I was lounging. And I think that's what I haven't had in any of these booths yet, is that it actually feels like a lounge type of space. And that was really nice. And the other factor of it feeling loungy was that the surface for your laptop was a really good size. Like, I was really blown away from just those details and where the plug is and the interior finishing and the way that the seat was done. And the entire layout of the space was just extremely comfortable. And that is hard to do in that type of a space because I don't want to say they're not designed for that, but they're designed for short-term use in most cases. It's like you go in, you make a phone call, maybe you work for an hour to, get away from the noise and all that kind of stuff. This one felt more like you could spend a few hours in there and you wouldn't feel cramped or claustrophobic or uncomfortable. Like I felt like I could kind of lean back or I could sit forward. And it offered me some versatility that I haven't seen in a lot of them. So stylistically, on point. And just from a user perspective, I was super comfortable. So, I mean, that was amazing. One of the other things is when you're in these, sometimes some of them, the air circulation isn't the greatest. Some of the higher end ones that I have referenced, like the Framery pods, those are wonderful for air circulation. And the Loop pod was right up there. Like I felt like they were on par when it came to, having that high quality air circulation. But there was something, a really big thing that Loop has that I don't think I've seen with any of them. And this was a real winner for me. When you purchase the Loop pod, it comes assembled. So they basically roll it off a truck and they put it in place. Whereas every other one that I've seen, it has to be assembled. And then when you want to relocate it, it's not a big deal, but you do have to disassemble it and reassemble it. And why that's important is that if you are in a big environment where you have like a facilities team, it'd be really great that if you wanted to, let's say after a pandemic and you have to rearrange your office, if you could have your team just simply dolly it to a new location. It's a plug and play system, so you just have to have an outlet, plug it in, and you have your power and you have your air circulation and you are good to go. With most pods to date that I have seen to date, you have to have a team, an install team, come in, disassemble it and reassemble it. Why is that important? Is the cost. So the cost of moving the Loop pod over most pods that I know is that you're actually going to save money on when you want to relocate it. So let's say you're doing half a day's labor, maybe $500 to move that, disassemble and reassemble it, maybe even a day. So you're looking between $500 and $1,000 every time you want to relocate, most pods. This one, it's just your facilities teams. They're already working there. Or maybe you hire a couple movers to come in, but really it's just a dolly and a move and maybe 2 people to make sure it doesn't fall over, all that kind of stuff. So you're looking at a couple $100. So, if you are in an environment, especially a lot of these tech companies where things are changing and progressing and they want to be up to date on the current things, or they want to refresh their layout, or post-pandemic, they have to change the setup of their office. By investing in the Loop pod, they're going to be able to do that really easily. And I thought that was a really, really big thing that they thought about when they designed it. And that's, that is definitely sets them apart from most of the other ones, because ease of flexibility is just a huge thing, especially when you're dealing with facilities. So some of the questions that I wanted to know about too were not every market, but it depends on where you are. Some of the fire code restrictions are really, really strict. They want to have a sprinkler head that comes into these pods, more the larger pods. And from a square footage standpoint, you don't need one. Like, it doesn't have anything in the code that says you need one, but some areas are more strict than others. And it has come up before with some of the pods that I've, seen used, and in certain markets. So it's a good question to find out about. And they were so quick. Like, my sales rep emailed them, and within less than an hour, I get half an hour, they already had let us know that yes, they have definitely had that question, and they have made it so that they can drop a sprinkler head into these pods if needed. So again, just super easy. Yeah, so it was really nice to be invited to Baker's at Work in Cambridge, Ontario today to get a, private tour of this new pod. And they are going to be making a lot more of them, which is really cool. So right now they have 2 sizes that are shown, but they're very customizable. And what I like is that if I have a, crazy idea, as I often do, I can actually, go to the vendor and say, hey, are you able to do this? Can you make it this size? Or can we paint this instead of having it, white? So, their shipping times for like straight off the shelf was 4 to 6 weeks, which is unheard of in the pod world, I'm not going to lie. And the customizing it, you're getting up to maybe around the 8-week mark. So nothing crazy. Like, the shipping times are fantastic. And then if you want to get into fully like redesigning and doing something totally different, that's a whole other ball game. But that's like every job. When it's that custom, you get into a whole other thing. But it was interesting that, the lead times were so great in the sense that you could really get these in a very quick turnaround, which on some projects is really, really key as well. And they have all the points, right? It's soundproof, it's styled beautifully, it's got a quick ship program. I mean, essentially it's got a quick ship program, which crazy. And price point. the price point on these are very comparable in the pod world. I wouldn't say they're at the low end, but they're definitely not at the high end. They are right in the mid-range price, but I do feel like you get a lot of bang for your buck. The quality and the craftsmanship of this piece was just like out of this world. So that's my 2 cents, and not a paid promotion. I really just like to share cool products that I learned about, and this was one of them. So I hope you enjoyed. While we were there, I also got to see some other products that I, use often, and Tayco actually is also made in Toronto, and they have a new line of benching system out. So we were able to take a look at that and see how they've kind of upgraded that with the new world that we're in with the screening. But the details with the square leg and the angled and the matte black, like, it was just really, really nicely done, and the finishing was really beautiful. And we also got to see this amazing desk unit from ThreeH, which I actually don't buy very often. I wish I did, but I don't. But it was just really cool. It's almost like that residential feel to it. Like, I feel like if you had a home office, this would just be amazing. Like, it was just such a nice setup. It had all these great storage in it. I love the little like push doors where you could like lock documents or your purse or anything. Like, you could lock a laptop in there. Actually, I wonder if that's what it was designed for. Now that I'm thinking about it. There was a nice like coat storage on the side. I just thought it was just so pretty and like funky on the colors and had that retro vibe. And apparently they're having a whole bunch of new stuff come out, so they're gonna bring me back to see that when it comes out as well. And then there was also, right when we walked in, there was this kind of interesting like hand sanitizer station, and I thought, oh my gosh, companies are already producing this. So there is a line called Belair that I have mentioned before. They are local as well, made in London. Again, trying to keep that cradle to cradle theme going. And early on in the pandemic, they started to see that this was probably going to be a need. And they developed this little station that you could basically put at the end of a desk or reception area, or even in a waiting room or in a front entryway. And it has like a little spot for masks and gloves and the hand sanitizer, a little garbage. You can just have like a whole bunch of things there ready to go so that people can come in, grab a form if they need to fill something out, whatever needs to be done. But it's like a little, safety station, I guess you could say, because it had all the components that in today's world, at least for the time being, we're gonna need. Right now we're dealing with this, but we don't know what the future holds. And I think people, having now lived through this, will be more cautious of just health and all of those things in the future. So I thought this was a really unique product that really hits on that and is an affordable product that companies can bring in to their space. So yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was nice to like get out. I mean, it's not like we're socializing. We all had to be 6 feet apart, but it was really nice to be able to get out, talk with people, and learn about some new products. And it kind of just felt normal, and that was really great. So I hope you enjoyed. That was my day, and now I actually have some drawings I need to do. So not super exciting, but I've got to get these drawings out. It's a really fun project though. And if it ever comes to fruition, because it's just kind of early stages right now, it's just kind of proposals, I'll definitely share that with you. Alright guys, if you're enjoying this content, I would really appreciate if you'd consider subscribing to my channel and hitting the thumbs up. Until next time, bye!